Story 1. Dream. Saving the world as a scientist. Reality. Saving Excel files as final version 2 final real. The only thing I am curing is my boss's boredom. Story 2. 10-year-old me thought I would own a mansion by now, but adult me is proud I remembered to pay the water bill on time. Story 3. I assumed I would be not crippled, working, parent, not living paycheck to paycheck, ideally thinner. I am 0 for 5. I am still happily married though. Story 4. Honestly, I thought I would have a career I like that pays the bills and a family. Each year I get older, and now I realize that dream is slowly slipping away. Due to my severe post-traumatic stress disorder, I still feel like a teenager. I do not feel like an adult at all. I am still waiting to grow up. I do not have a career that pays for anything more than surviving. Story 5. I imagined more certainty and less chaos, but reality has taught me more than any perfect plan ever could. Story 6. I just turned 29. I definitely thought I would have my own home and family by now. I always liked the idea of growing up and steering my life in whichever direction I chose. Reality hit me hard as I struggled with depression during what was supposed to be my growing period. As I searched for what drives me and what brings me happiness, weeks turned into months, and months into years. I am now working as a structural steel fabricator and fitter. Factory work is tough, and I am not going to lie. I work in a shop with no air conditioning. We are on mandatory overtime right now, so the days are 10 hours long. The work is dirty, and I go months without any acknowledgement. I push myself every day seeking my superior's approval, but I know I make very little compared to the physical toll on my body. I live in my friend and coworker's basement. He has a home, for children, and a wife. We all get along very well, and paying rent helps them with their bills. His wife cooks us dinner every night, which has helped me lose some extra weight and has been nice. I would be lying if I said I do not feel lost and directionless. My career is really the only thing I have to focus on right now, and I am starting to hate it. I do not know what my next step is, and taking a pay cut to change careers while also finding the motivation to do so feels like climbing Mount Everest at the moment. Story 7. Honestly, the direction I was headed, I thought I would be serving a long-term prison sentence. The reality does not compare at all because I have left that lifestyle and started businesses. Story 8. I figured I would be retired by now, and if not for the natural disaster in 2018 that destroyed my home and business, I would be. Also, my wife was diagnosed with cancer in 2022, so everything is on hold for now, but I am in good shape to retire at 62. Story 9. Married with kids, traveling with my wife and children, and happy. Currently alone and more depressed than I could have thought possible. Oh well, I am a man, so who cares? Story 10. When I am on my nostalgic trip, I always think about how I actually felt in the 1990s and 2000s. I describe that feeling as a world party. A scene where a whole city is celebrating something together, dancing to great music with all kinds of people involved and welcome. Obviously, reality turned out to be completely different from that dream. Story 11. At 18 years old, I was completely set on starting a 100-acre intentional community focused on organic farming and changing the culture through love. At 30 years old, I am living on 6 acres in a multi-generational home with wonderful in-laws and grandparents. I am pregnant with a baby whom we plan to raise with patience and love. We have 10 fruit trees and a small garden. It is not exactly how I envisioned it, but it came true in its own humble way that I could have never imagined. Story 12. I didn't think I would be living, but at the same time, if I were to live, I imagined reaching every dream. I like to think I am still on the way despite obstacles. Story 13. I think that life is a series of ideas that just evolve as we get older. That way, you do not regret possibly not achieving those goals. Story 14. I did not expect to be here this long. I just turned 56. My last employer shut down, and now I cannot find a job because no one wants to hire someone with gray hair. Also, the job I did for 20 years no longer exists anywhere else. Story 15. Dream. Having my own house somewhere suitable. working in my dream career and becoming an inspiration to other people. Having lots of friends and being at peace with myself. Reality, living with my parents still. I am in college but have not started my dream career yet. I have no close friends, and I do not think anyone actually likes me that much. Story 16. Honestly, I always imagined I would be dead by 30 due to a heart attack or massive stroke because of my diet of nothing but fast food, junk food, and sodas. Now I am in my mid-40s with failing kidneys due to a genetic condition I did not know I was born with. Story 17. Not to brag, but I thought I would be extremely financially successful, fit, married to a wonderful woman inside and out, and have the option to stop working before age 30. Here I am with all of that true. I realize that this is rare, though, and I am probably a 1 in a million statistic. Story 18. I assumed I would be living on my own and making considerably more money. That is not how it worked out. Story 19. I had a hard time looking that far ahead. Looking back, I may have had undiagnosed issues. I struggled in school early on and may have had depression and anxiety in my teens and early adulthood. I was worried about the future. It all seemed really uncertain. I had really close friends who meant everything to me. I thought I might amount to nothing due to low self-confidence. Unfortunately, most of those friends have drifted apart, which was a big shock for me. Looking back, we all had issues we were working on. I worked really hard to find some sense of peace. I was lucky enough to meet a beautiful, kind woman who made me a father and gave me a real home. It took work from both of us over the last decade and a half. I got into martial arts competitively and earned a black belt in judo and a blue belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which felt like giving my 10-year-old self, who loved Dragon Ball Z, a hug. I have just finished a master's degree and will be doing another Master of Science in biology this upcoming year. I read a lot. I have a high-paying, stable job. I love my kids more than anything. I feel like if life could just pause still, that would be all I'd ever need. I understand life can turn at any moment, but I'm happy and lucky where I've landed. I think if I were to meet my 10, 15, or even 20-year-old self, he would be so happy. Story 20. I'm married to the woman I wanted to marry, and I have all the swords and knives from my wish list. My gaming PC is about where I imagined it, but I need a few upgrades. I live in a rental home instead of some remote property where I could shoot guns and pound an anvil all day long. So that is a loss. I have more pets than I was looking for. Story 21. I have much more than I actually thought I would. I grew up lower middle class, and while I had ambitions for a great career and success, when you do not have much, you do not know what that actually means. Story 22. Thoughts. I would have a family by now, a husband, some children, and a home of my own. I still want a partner, but no biological children in my future due to cancer. I have a wonderful dog and a blessed life. Story 23. My dream was to continue being a dance instructor, massage therapist, and to get a master's degree in disability studies. To keep going out dancing multiple times a week, enjoying live music, and spending quality time with loved ones. To travel. My reality since 2019 has been 2 post-viral chronic illnesses with no cure. I can barely leave my home and have to spend most of the day in bed or reclining. I am 36. Mask up with N95 masks. No one is immune to post-viral illness. Story 24. I thought I would have my own home. Instead, my wealthy parents bought one for my wife and me because my mom was embarrassed that we were living in a very cheap apartment to save up to buy a house. Now, I suffer from imposter syndrome watching my peers match my lifestyle without the help I have received. They also paid for college. I would call myself ungrateful, but I have taken advantage of the opportunities they have given me by investing a large portion of my income into retirement. At 33, I already have a significant nest egg, and by the time I retire, I will have my own small fortune. I will pay for my kids' college, their homes, and continue the cycle of generational wealth. I am sure that at some point down the road, someone will burn through the wealth our family has accumulated over several generations. As long as that person is not myself or my children, it is out of my control. Life is not exactly how I planned, and I feel like a poser among my peers. But I cannot say I would want to live life on hard mode either. I feel like I have been as responsible as I can be, despite being given the opportunity to be spoiled. Story 25. I thought I would be planning early retirement with my wife and all that. Things are looking like I am not going to be able to retire until at least age 65, and I will likely end up alone, as I am no longer married and dating has not gone well for me. Story 26. Well, I did not think I was going to be alive, and I did not think I would be physically disabled. Story 27. I thought I would be married with at least one child. I have never been married and have no children. I also thought I would have a career and be slim. I have no career and I am still overweight. Story 28. Being comfortably retired in my paid-for home and enjoying what I expected to afford with my savings. After recessions, fraud, an alcoholic wife with a gambling habit, and other drains on finances. All beyond my control. I am sitting here in my cheap rental with nothing, trying to exist on my pension. Story 29. Living somewhere far away from my hometown with a decent paying job. I didn't even get 20 miles away from it and nowhere near decent pay. Story 30. I imagined I would be married and have my own place. I am currently unemployed, single, and living with my parents. Story 31. I thought I would live on a few acres near the ocean or even a lake. I wanted to have a pier off my porch to fish from. I planned to have goats, chickens, dogs, and a crew to do the heavier work, along with the income to support it all. I thought I would not make it to 30 because of bad decisions. I have great children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, so I have happiness and have made it to 68. Story 32. I thought I was going to be dead or in jail. I turned my life around and now I have a stable job that I love, and a self-sustaining hobby that I could make serious money from if I decided to go all in. Story 33. I thought I would be a lawyer, married with 1 or 2 kids, living at home unemployed, caregiving for my sister and mother with no college degree. Reality is the worst. I am very unhappy. Story 34. I thought I would be a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics graduate of some kind. I ended up dropping out of high school due to mental health issues and later earned a diploma through an adult education program. I spent the next decade working in fast food until a government official discovered me and recruited me into the Canada Revenue Agency, where I have been thriving for the past 7 years. I am on pace to be mortgage-free on my house before age 40 and own a lot of Lego as well. Life is going pretty well despite an early setback. Story 35. I never thought about it. I am not sure what life I am supposed to be living. It is the only one that I know. Story 36. I thought I would become magically independent overnight, completely free from stress about leaving my old life behind. Story 37. When I was 13, I thought I would move to New York City and become a big fashion designer. Now, at 23, I am in law school in my hometown, happier than ever, and set to enter large law firms. I will stick to consuming fashion, but maybe I will create something in the future. My new dream is to be a writer. Story 38. I thought I would be a mom until that lost any realistic possibility. I thought I would be able to be a dog mom. I thought I would still be able to work in some capacity. I thought I would still be making music. I definitely did not foresee becoming an invalid with 24/7 care needs at age 40. I also did not foresee an alcoholic husband being one of my carers. I thought I would still be able to see my family. Story 39. Childhood goals. Own home. Achieved. It is smaller than I want, but it is affordable. Many children. The first time I heard my daughter cry, that dream died. Turns out I do not do well with crying children. Famous game developer. It turns out there was more to this than I had anticipated, and it involves coordinating with others, a skill I lack. Stay in touch with friends. This goal came about from seeing how lonely Dad was. I made an effort to stay in touch with everyone that I call a friend. Story 40. I should have had a Doctor of Philosophy degree by now, but instead, I have not eaten 4 out of the past 7 days because my digestive tract is failing me. Story 41. A couple of scenarios. 1. I thought I would be dead by 25. I am 33 now. I thought I would still be married, living the double income, no kids life. Story 42. I am exactly where I thought I would be, but not where I hope to be. There are many external and internal factors that contribute to my current situation, and I feel stuck. The idea that you have time is becoming tiresome because I have had the same plan for years. Now, I can finally act on those plans without encountering problems in one area. However, I still need to overcome other barriers in this political climate. Story 43. I wanted to be single, living off the land in a mountain shelter alone. Basically, the exact opposite happened. Story 44. I honestly had no idea and assumed that meant I would be nowhere. I am 24 and have a great job doing something I am very passionate about, making pretty good money. Story 45. I am in my 40s now, and for some reason unknown to me throughout my late teenage years and 20s, I believed that I would be dead in my 30s. I was not what I would consider depressed or suicidal, nor did I live those years doing reckless things. I just sort of went by thinking it was coming eventually, so there was no real point in working too hard towards anything. In comparison, I am doing okay. I just wish I had known I would still be alive sooner so I could have prepared for the years ahead. Story 46. It's weird. I think my 13-year-old self would be impressed. 50-year-old me feels directionless despite having a modicum of success in a few fields and world travel, including a bare 2-year stint ending a year ago. I feel like I am still missing something and probably always will. Story 47. 36-year-old male. I honestly feel, and many would say look, closer to 26 than 36. I am living on my own but do not have a house yet. As a child, I definitely thought I would be married with kids by now, along with owning a house, but I really wasted time in my 20s. I very much regret it and feel like my 30s have gone in the way things should have in my 20s. Story 48. I am not sure I imagined that I would still be living in house shares or lodging in other people's homes by now. I also like to imagine I would have a partner and a dog, and that I would have a creative job of some sort. I am lodging in someone else's house without a dog and single, finding life frankly a bit of a chore and a letdown. It makes me feel somewhat like a failure, to be honest, and it has eroded what little confidence I ever had. Story 49. It's a mixture. In some ways, it is better than I had hoped. In other ways, I am a million miles off. We just try to do our best at any given time, I guess, and be thankful. Story 50. I don't remember where I thought I'd be, so I guess I'm better than nothing. I think my goal was to get my Bachelor of Science degree. I did accomplish that. It must have been a focus because I took until my 30s to complete it. I never wanted children. Cancer ended any thought of that being possible, so I'm okay with that. I do know that I wanted to be independent, and I have accomplished that for now. Things change, so who knows what the future holds. I just don't remember what I thought I'd be doing when I was an adult. Story 51. I thought I would be living in a penthouse in Manhattan writing for Cosmopolitan. I raised chickens in a rural area in the Netherlands. I veered off course somewhere. Story 52. Imagine hosting a world tour for my family. Currently busy living as a wage slave, barely managing to pay the minimum bills. Story 53. Dark, but I genuinely thought I would be dead. I have a debilitating mental illness, and until a few years ago, I could only see myself as someone who would end my own life. But now I live in a different city, have an okay job, my own place, a partner, good friends, and I travel. It is not the best life in the world, but it is a life I did not even think I would have. Story 54. Expectation. Wife and 2 children working on computers. Reality. Wife and 2 children working on computers. It was not the dream, but it was the expectation. I would probably have dreamed of being richer, but then again, we are well above average income right now, so we really cannot complain. Story 55. 35. Thought I would be married with children by now. Originally, I thought I would be married around 27 or 28, like my parents. But then a breakup and a big move delayed that, so I figured I would be married by 30. Then between COVID-19, a new job, another move, and the overall difficulty of dating, it still hasn't happened. So now I just joke that I am waiting until I am 40 for marriage and children. Story 56. Get ready for it to get dark real quick with a happy ending. I never imagined myself getting to this age in my late 30s. I grew up in an extremely violent home. My father is a psychopath. My younger brother and I even had a conversation as children about how we did not feel we would make it into adulthood. It is so sad now that I look back. Today, life is so much better than I could have ever imagined. I am married to an amazing husband, raising two beautiful, healthy children, completed graduate school, and am practicing my career. I cut off my entire immediate toxic family and am focusing on my healing. Just the simple act of being able to relax on the couch and watch television without feeling that I am going to get beat or yelled at is an amazing and, at times, eerie feeling. I do not take any of this for granted. All I can say is that God has protected me my entire life. I am still in awe of where I am now, given where I came from. Statistically, it just does not make sense. I am alive and living a much better life, quite literally, by the grace of God. Story 57. I do not think I had a clue what my life would be like as a youngster, but if I had given it any thought, my expectations would have been utterly different from how it turned out. Story 58. I did not have specific plans for my age, but I thought I would eventually be married, living in Asia with a husband, in-laws nearby, and a child. A standard modern working woman's life with lots of hosting and an active social life. My current life is the opposite of all that, so this is like Plan 15 after many others failed. I could not be more grateful. Story 59. Honestly, I did not expect to still be alive, and here I am. If I had only known reality, I would have made much better plans for the last 10 years of my life. Given the way things are currently, I expect to live until I am in my 80s. I do not want to, and I do not think I will, but I have to project into that because I have been wrong before. For your information, I am 60 now. Story 60. Married with 4 children. Reality. Engaged for over 6 years to someone who will probably never fully commit. I have 1 child from a previous relationship. Story 61. I thought I would have some splendid solo adventures now that I am retired, but COVID-19 ended all of that. I now have many syndromes and illnesses, so my only journeys are to medical centers, where all the doctors are specialists of one kind or another. I thought I had another 10 years of quality living before life slowed down. Instead, my life slowed down in January 2020 and has only become worse. I think I may have only about 4 more years to live. I worked my whole life with dreams of vacations as my prize. Life is not for the faint-hearted. Story 62. Pretty much what I am living now. Married with kids. Still go drinking with friends once or twice a month. Just fewer drinks and earlier bedtimes. What I did not imagine is how hard life was getting in my 50s. Kids are getting older and college is expensive. Parents are getting older, and I am constantly worried about them. Retirement is on the horizon, but many house repairs and bills are also coming up. My own health is a pain. Recovering from basketball or lifting takes days or weeks. Plus, new parts of my body ache for really dumb reasons. Story 63. I imagine being a fun, teaching chef, showing people not just how to cook food, but how to find the joy in it. I did that for about 13 years. COVID ended that, and now I'm a divorced, broke guy living in his parents' basement, 3,000 miles from where he wants to be. I'm almost 50. There's just no getting ahead. So no more dreaming. I'm much happier just hiking and smoking weed. I even finally made a friend after being back here 4 years. I get along with my folks. I now help them as their age is showing. I work a simple job that hopefully doesn't go away next year and hope not too much more bad things happen. If it doesn't, maybe I can maintain this almost sense of contentment that is creeping in. Story 64. Honestly, I thought I would be dead by now. I did not expect to see my 20s. Now, I am 36, married to a wonderful person, and working at a job I enjoy. I still feel the doom, but I am doing okay. Story 65. Thought I'd be dead or in jail. 44. Homeowner. Career retention. 2 beautiful kids and an amazing wife. Sober 20 years. Did not anticipate this level of happiness. Just trying to lean in with gratitude and enjoy the ride each day. Story 66. At 16 years old, I imagined that I would have graduated by 24, be married by 27, and have 2 kids by 30. Now at 35, I graduated at 26, am not married, and did not want children at 24. Story 67. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Pretty much that, except the wife. No idea how I got here. I never had a plan, yet here I am. Story 68. I was sure we would all be vaporized by now, so I have just improvised for the last 3 decades. I was ambitious for a while, but struggling toward my goal made me and my family miserable. Story 69. As a teenager, I never thought I would live to see 51 years old. I seriously thought I would have been taken out of this world, probably by my own hand, long before I hit my 50s. If I did manage to survive my mental illness, back then I figured I would be working in some dead-end job in my hometown, just like most of the other people who live there. In reality, here I am at 51 years old. My mental health is far better than it was over 30 years ago. I am married, have a couple of kids, have a good job, own a house, and I do not live in my hometown. Life, for the most part, is good. Teenage me would never believe that my life is her life. Story 70. Years ago, I imagined I would still be working and living in London's commuter belt. In reality, I have been retired for 2 years and live by the United Kingdom's best beach. So yes, reality exceeded my expectations. Story 71. I grew up poor as the son of a single father who did factory work. I never really had any reason to think that I would end up any different. Fast forward to age 40 and my house is nearly paid off. My career is fulfilling, my wife is wonderful, and our 2 teenage children are growing up to be thoughtful young adults. I am very concerned for our collective future in this dysfunctional country, but when I consider everything, my life has gone better than my wildest dreams. Story 72. I thought I would own a house and maybe reach the upper middle class by now. Instead, I am struggling to stay barely in the lower middle class, realizing that owning a house is unattainable and I am always one emergency away from financial ruin. Somehow, I make more money than ever before, yet I have never been so broke. Story 73. 10-year-old me thought I would be successful as a comic book artist living in a major city like New York. College-age me thought I would be successful as a graphic designer living somewhere like New York or California. Current me is living the suburban life, working as a junior designer, married with a child. Something I never thought about when I was younger. Story 74. I thought I would be happy with a family around me. I have a child and can barely afford to own a house, but now I am all alone. Story 75. I didn't. I have lived life one day at a time. Never once have I imagined what my life would be like at this age or any age before it. For me, life is not a plan. It just happens. Story 76. I imagined I would have a house in a nice part of town, a couple of children, and a job that allowed me to be home by 5, spend my weekends doing whatever I wanted, make a big deal out of my children's birthdays and Christmas, and be able to take my family on 1 or 2 vacations per year. I am a homeowner, but it is a small, rundown house in a less desirable part of town. I have 1 child. My wife wants a second, but the first has been so much work, and I am chronically exhausted that I do not think I have another one in me. I work 50 to 80 hours a week, am on call nights, weekends, and holidays. Vacations are entirely out of the question because I am barely earning enough to get by. This is definitely not the life I imagined a household with 6 total combined college degrees would have. Story 77. I did not see myself living this long. I certainly did not think I would be doing well financially. I am glad I did not give up. Story 78. Thought I would be married and traveling the world with my wife. In reality, I have not had a girlfriend in 6 years and have not traveled in 8. All in all, my life is actually pretty good, just missing the wife and traveling. Story 79. I thought I would have made a video game by now, but I am still just a cashier. Definitely not what I wanted or imagined. Story 80. I was an arrogant little person. I thought I knew everything. I wanted to live in Florida and go to the beach every day. I wanted to be a doctor or a nurse, and I wanted a husband who looked like Ian Somerhalder. I got one who looks like Jeremy Allen White with a beer belly. Again, not complaining. I wanted to party and go nuts. I didn't. I became a homesteading, homeschooling, and gardening introvert. Story 81. I did not know I would have a professional job and be paying half my income to a single mother teacher who bought a detached house decades ago that I could now never afford. Baby boomers really pulled up the ladder. Story 82. I thought I would be living in a small, cute studio with open windows and flower pots overlooking the ocean, smoking cigarettes, drinking my morning mimosa, and practicing a disc jockey set in the early morning sunrise. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.